drained if the market really doesn't move. Um, Buying a hedge is really cheap, and I know a lot of people who got caught off sides a couple weeks ago when the market corrected itself 5 to 6% really quickly. They didn't really anticipate it because it was a character change from the prior 6 months of the rally. This is your time to potentially feel protected and playing the volatility of like it's cheap right now. If the story really hasn't changed from a couple weeks ago, we're getting a small window of opportunity of hedging your portfolio due to the volatility being cheaper. So like that's kind of the way my mind works on volatility, where it's a tool to make some informed decisions I want to make on portfolio management or capturing any kind of alpha I see due to macro noise. And the way I use it is the volatility is a perfect tool to capitalize on that, where you can trade off it and also utilize it for your own hedge benefits. So I'll pass it back to you, but that's kind of how I utilize volatility into my day-to-day action as a long-term investor and sometimes as a short-term trader to capitalize on any kind of alpha I see in the market.
Perfect. Jay, would love to hear thoughts on that, and then maybe you can go into some of the latest updates on THTA and explain that product a little more for those who haven't heard of
Yeah,
it before.
sure. Lee, I'll first comment on volatility. So I think a lot of great info was just given on that. I would agree. The only caveat I would give is just buyer beware when you're trading the VIX, right? The VIX is an interesting, well, you can't trade the VIX directly. You could trade the options on the VIX, which are based on the VIX futures. And, it's one of those things that price and time matter. You could get the direction right, but if it's not at the right time, you may not get to realize your profit. So, for example, on that recent pop that we saw on the VIX, where it kind of broke intraday, broke the 20 range. If you were the person that was hedging all the way out to say November because you think, hey, there's going to be volatility between now and the election, you actually weren't able to make very much money on the VIX trade. You could have done it with long puts if you had bought puts on the SPY or SPX or any of those indexes. Sure, it's a little easier to make money on that, but the VIX gets a little harder because the volatility, it takes a while for that to kind of find its way into the futures. I like to say that the VIX options can be very lazy. So anybody that's traded VIX options will know what I'm talking about, that you may get the move you want, but if it's not sustained for more than a few days, it's going to evaporate right away. So right now, if you were buying that VIX out to say November, because you think, and I think we all agree, there's probably going to be some volatility going into the election, the break even on the VIX is 18 on that. So if you bought the calls or sold puts or did a synthetic, you need the VIX to get over 18 for you to make money on that in November. So it's just one of those things. Just be careful about that. The VIX is one of those things that I say it's a good way to earn tuition. It's a nice way of saying you're going to probably lose money, but learn a lesson on it. So always be mindful when it comes to trading VIX options directly. I don't know anybody that's never lost money on a VIX trade, even though they got it right, right? So it happens that it can be it's a very difficult instrument to trade. When it comes to Theta itself, thank you for bringing that one up. Yeah, the strategy is kind of continuing to do what we think it's meant to do. So this is a strategy that sells deep out of the money credit spreads on the indexes, and it targets like a return of about 1% a month, and then that turns around and gets distributed out in the form of a dividend. Um, it is done over a basket of treasuries, so you get this extra kicker of right now short-term rates at the 5+ range, and so the strategy is aiming to make between 12 to 15% a year, and it'll be the most boring 15% you're going to make in your lifetime. But it's one of those things that it's just consistent. It's got low volatility. Yes, it takes black swan risk because you're selling deep out of the money options, and so if you have a dramatic unexpected move, the strategy can show some stress for sure. But generally speaking, normal markets, even when you have a low volatility environment like what we're going into now, you could still turn around and sell options for that 1.25% a month over a basket of treasuries. And that strategy, it's been, we've seen money flowing into it little by little. I think when we started, we were probably at 2 million in the fund. Today we're over 15 million in the fund, and it's only been a few months, but it's just kind of this consistent little growth in a strategy that's meant to be an alternative income vehicle.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, understanding where the growth is, where the risk is, let's talk about a typical portfolio. How does this fit into it, right? Where is someone adding to this at times? I guess if you were, you are a fund manager, right? How do you, and you work with a bunch of different products. How do you fit it into a
Yeah,
portfolio?
so this is even as an advisor, right? When I talk to clients, so this would fall into a longer term portfolio. This isn't a product you really trade in and out of each day. It doesn't move all that much each day, so there's not a lot of short term opportunity, but it just kind of ticks higher a little bit all the time. This is I would put this in the alternative income category, right? So typical strategies, right? You got your stocks, you got fixed income, you got alternatives. Stick it in the alternatives category. I wouldn't exceed 20% in this product of any portfolio simply because of the black swan risk that it takes. And nobody sees a black swan coming. That's kind of the whole point of calling it a black swan. So we like to tell people 15 to 20% allocation in this product. And it's in your long-term portfolio, right? It goes along with your long-term, SPY or Q's holdings, right? You just put it there and let it do its thing. We like to remind people again that this is one of those things that you should probably reinvest the dividends, right? Because it's kicking out monthly. We like to give people the chance to do what they want with the dividends, but you're going to kick off cash in the strategy to the tune of that 12 to 15% a year. And so making sure you reinvest that's also important. So A, long-term portfolio, B, put it in the income or the alternative category, treat it like income and have some regular reinvestment.
Very nice. Evan, you got some thoughts here?
Sorry, had to get back from being muted. Yeah, no, I appreciate the spaces and appreciate Jay joining us as always. The volatility question made me think about earnings season and how we get these kind of couple weeks and couple months of increased volatility in different areas and stock specific. I wanted to hear how earnings season impacts the strategy that we're doing with Theta.
Yeah, of course, you hope to get a little tick up in volatility, which means you could sell those credit spreads for either a little more premium or farther out of the money, which we would consider to be a little safer. So that is a good thing about earnings. Of course, the last month, the market was a little choppy, right? But this strategy just kind of chugged right along, like seeing a 4, 5, 6, 7% decline in the market. This strategy is going to be able to absorb it. So we like having this kind of as a constant piece in the portfolio, but you're right in the point that in the months where vol is a little higher or the outlook for market movement, whether it's a big Fed meeting that's coming up or something like that, you'll see kind of an increase in the premium we could sell in that portfolio. And by when I say an increase in the premium, it means a higher potential profit in the positions that we put on. Now, we don't really trade them, too often, right? They're like 1 month trades that we put on. So, we do try to watch for, capturing those periods that are interesting and like an upcoming earnings or an upcoming Fed meeting, trying to enter, just before those time periods, because that's when you get the most amount of juice, which will then translate into, a higher distribution in the end. But, kind of harvesting volatility is a good thing with this strategy. But once you're in a position, I think it's worth noting, you don't want a ton of volatility to come in, right? Because you just sold the position. You don't want the market to have an immediate sell-off. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword on this one. But quite frankly, when you're selling spreads that are 10, 12, 15% out of the money, it should be able to handle a little market wiggle like what we just saw in the 5% decline.
What are some comparable products, perhaps that people might look at, and how do you weigh the pros and cons?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of other funds out there that kind of do, credit spread selling. They've been out there for a little while longer than THTA, but let's see, I think CSHI is one of them. SVOL is probably a pretty popular one, right? These are all kind of funds that I would put in that alternative income strategy. Of course, we all have our different recipe. We all, do things a little differently. But the concept of earning time decay in a 40 Act product like an ETF, with what we're doing with THTA, it's not new, right? We didn't revolutionize this, but we've been running a strategy like this in our advisor business for, I don't know, 12, 13 years. And so we've seen a lot of different markets when we run it, and we think, we've got a little better mousetrap, but, everybody's doing something a little different. But I'm always glad to see that the marketplace is, willing to support these kind of products. And so we're optimistic down the road, how THTA will produce, the returns and perform against the others. Our target yield is a little higher than theirs. I think it has to do with, kind of our structure. But, those are kind of comparable products that you could take a look at to see how they've done in different environments.
Got it. Thank you. Emperador, I know you're coming from a different world here with futures where people are going there to kind of escape the IV, right? And this is trying to capitalize on it. So it's a little bit unique. Curious if you had any thoughts here.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. So, I love hearing the different strategies and stuff that people use, and always having those and learning those so I can use them on the side. When it comes to volatility for me, especially, IV is almost non-existent in my main trading strategy with futures, right? But the volatility definitely changes how I trade because you get these larger outsized moves. Even your individual candles are bigger. So it's something I do track a lot, but as far as like developing a strategy to capitalize off of it, I'm loving everything I'm hearing here. So I'm all ears over here, and all. I've actually got my notepad here on the computer typing in some notes so I
You can
can
hear me now.
kind of follow up on a lot of this stuff. So good stuff. I really like it. I'll just have to
You can hear me now, chat.
see how I can follow along with this. I really
What's good, boys?
volatility is a very, very
What's good, what's
interesting
good, what's
thing.
good,
It
boys?
obviously it
Looking pretty good
affects
today.
a lot of things, so I do
Looking
follow
pretty
it.
good
I
today,
just
boys.
haven't really dove into the
Remember,
pool
God
of
did.
how to
Remember,
capitalize
God
off of
did.
it.
Looking pretty good today, boys. Holding
Yeah, I
level
would make
as
a comment
well.
on this that while we do talk
We're just in
about,
a consolidating level
ultimately
right
this
here, the
is a
gap.
portfolio
I'm
that's
expecting
short
rejection to
volatility,
these highs.
it's not like an SVIXY or
Hopefully.
anything like that, because it doesn't really
I do
take
not
the
want to
day-to-day
reject off these
movements, right? When you're
highs.
selling
But
options
right
that
now,
are
we're in this
10 to
gap right now.
15% out of the money, you can get
We
a
got some
little
buyers
pop in
holding it down.
volatility or a decline in the market,
EMA
or
is holding up pretty well.
either way, a move in the market that goes against your underlying position. And because
Point of
you're
control
so
is
far
back
out
up
of the
here. It would
money,
probably push
you have
down
this
back
high
here to support
probability
level
of
to push back up
success.
to these new
It
highs.
doesn't cause all that much of a problem.
Lucid,
It's
let's
not
go,
until
baby.
you
Let's go
get like that
$3. Let's
outsized
go.
move, like where you get kind of
Fucking
a,
go, baby.
2 standard deviation
Fucking
move, a
go. I
3
need this
standard
shit to go
deviation
up, baby.
move over a week period,
Hey, how
does
y'all
this
doing
start
today,
to show
boys?
some stress. So the nice thing about this strategy is you kind of give yourself a little bit of buffer. You're taking advantage of the fact that, there's always volatility in the market and somebody's always projecting some speculative move. But as long as nothing, really out of the ordinary occurs, the strategy is just going to, plod along and earn its, 1% a month. I would tell you that during periods of, extreme stress, like, COVID was a great period to look at. The devaluation of the yuan in 2015, or even, what happened at the end of 2018, right? That fourth quarter where you had that, Christmas Eve bloodbath. One of those things, like those kinds of events will put a little stress on the strategy. But because we know time is on our side, we're quick to kind of get out of a position and get a new one on as soon as we can, and not always try to ride it out. So the trading tactics here are, sit tight and then don't be afraid to act once you start to get that extreme move.
point of control
We use
above.
some guidelines, to the fact of, hey, if you ever see the fund down 10%, time to close up that position and roll out and buy yourself more time. It's one of those things about volatility. When it can come very hard and pop, but the thing about it is it doesn't necessarily last all that long, right? 2-3 weeks at a time. COVID was a unique one. 2-3 weeks at a time, though, of kind of higher volatility is one of those things that if you could just buy some time to get out of it, you'll end up finding yourself rebounding for any of the safety trades you had to make while you're in the middle of the fear.
SPY winning new high. After filling
Definitely
that
some really
gap
interesting
right
points. So
here. Bouncing
just
off
kind of
this
zooming out
high right
here,
here.
what is your general
this
thoughts
wick.
on state of the market and where we're at right now?
We're seeing a
SPY
3-minute low
continues to
right
hover
here.
around
3-minute
this
double
$500
bottom right here
level
with a
pretty
higher
consistently.
higher
It's
low. Wait,
popped up pretty nicely
higher
last
low,
couple
higher
days, right
low.
back up to 514. So we're really not far off of all-time highs, but maybe it doesn't feel like the same as it was a month
If
ago or
this
so. I'm just
high
curious to
can't get
get
above
your
this
insight.
Yeah, I
high,
mean,
we
you
might
said
be
it earlier
seeing
on,
this
right? Or
low
somebody
push
said
down
it
to these
earlier on.
lows
You know,
down
we were
here.
expecting
But
3, 4 rate
I'm
cuts, and
expecting this to
now
push up to these
the
highs
market is down
because the
to,
point
you
of
know,
control is up
1
here, and we got
as kind of the
the
broad
volume profile
accepted
up here
thesis. You know, we were always in the
previous
1
day,
camp for
not previous day, today's
September,
highs now.
and so we were happy to
So
ride
it's
kind
gonna
of the early
consolidate above these
appreciation
lows
and the gains
until
this
it
year.
finds
But
its way up
look, at
into the
some point,
EMAs.
the cuts are coming, right? Whether it's 2024 or
We'll see.
2025, the cuts are coming, right? And they don't have to be a lot as long as the bias is to cut. You know, when you look back, this mirror, we think it mirrors, this market mirrors a lot of like the 94 time period where the market's just, you know, coming slightly off of elevated rates and just had this amazing 3 to 4 year run. I think profits are good, right? They're still showing that they're expanding. I
What I
think you have
don't
a
like
market
is that we're
that's
gonna
leaning
drift above
towards
these
cutting
EMAs, telling me that we're getting
cutting
pushed down
rates
to the
versus raising rates, even if it's slower than
Lucid
originally
pushing up, baby.
expected.
Let's get
So
this
when I think
go.
about the things that push the market, it's rates and it's corporate earnings. Both of those look to be in a pretty good position. And I do think we got a little ahead of ourselves in the first 3 months of the year, but I don't necessarily think that it's, you know, the appreciation is over. You know, we have kind of internally a little side bet within, you know, our investment committee here at Zega. Do we hit 6,000 by the time this year ends? And actually, you know, we're 50-50, right? Half of our investment committee thinks, yeah, we break 6,000 before the year's over. So it's one of those things I think we're leaning towards, you know, take these little pullbacks as an opportunity to buy.
My
But this
heart.
market's got some legs, and the broader,
Bro,
you know,
don't tell me this is gonna
economic
down.
factors are probably going to push it higher.
BA, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
can I weigh in on that?
Goofy.
Yeah, I saw you had a question
I
that
need
you
Lucid to
commented. If
push
you want to
up
Yeah,
answer that.
though.
well, honestly, I'll touch on the question that I commented, but also
Yeah,
I
looks like
think
we're gonna go for this 1
Zega,
hour
he
leaf
sounds
right
like a
gap.
smart guy.
Do you see
I
how we
think
have this
something
gap
that
right here on
helps
this
my
volume
frame of
profile to
reference
fill
on
still?
markets just
And we don't
broadly
have the 5
is
minutes
thinking
above
of it
this
as
orb
an
or in this today's
amalgamation
playing orb.
of rates. So
No
thinking of it like a
bueno.
DCF. So rates, that's your
Puts, let me
denominator.
puts.
Corporate earnings, that's your numerator, and then
But I don't
forward
like playing
expectations,
puts. I don't like
just your growth
seeing
rate. So
downtrends
I
play
think
out. I
that's what
don't
Zega
like.
was getting at, but
I
I
have a
think
hard
that's a
time
great
seeing
way to just
downtrends. You know what I'm
frame your
saying?
reference. And that's why
That's what I'm
earnings
trying to
season are
say.
so important. What I wanted to ask Zega about this theta strategy is you briefly alluded to it when you get like the 2 or 3 standard deviation moves. I'm talking about like Google this earnings cycle, Meta when it had that outsized 20% last
How's
quarter
Tesla, chat?
earnings. Are you just selling the wings here? When I say the wings, I'm talking about like the 20 to 10 delta buckets, upside or downside. I'm curious like what kind of skew plays
That's
you're
telling
playing here.
me
But yeah, anyways, my name's Mark and I'm an
VWAP.
options trader in Chicago. So just would love to hear.
Yeah, got it, Mark. Yeah, so thanks. So first off, with the theta strategy, we actually stay away from the individual names, right? We stick with the indexes because the thing that burns you the most is that overnight move of 10%, right? Like that could happen with an individual tickers. Google's a great example of what happened, right? Where if you were short calls going into that earnings season, you ended up paying quite a bit to get out of those, right? So we end up sticking with the indexes.
So you're short correlation. You're selling the indexes.
We're selling options on the indexes. Generally, actually, the S&P, right? We could stick with the most, you know, the safest of all of them. But yes, we might have a RUT position, we might have an NDX position, but we're generally SPX.
Okay, cool. And do you ever just refer to that as short correlation? That's what we do in our offices, and then maybe go long the components. I don't know if you go long the components as some sort of protection measure, but
in that fund we don't. In that fund, it is a pure play, you know, selling a deep out of the money credit spread. Typically, it's on the put side. We have, you know, legged into an iron condor and sold the call side as well. But generally, we're just selling away the volatility of the 1 month out options. So we keep it really simple. What you're talking about is a great strategy. Don't get me wrong, where you could, you know, earn the premium of the index and then be long the movement of the underlying components. That's a great strategy, right? It's not this one, but it is a strategy we run in some of our other portfolios where it allows you to kind of harvest some income while you're still, you know, able to capture like those one-off moves like you just saw in Google without getting totally burned because you're just short the index, not short the individual components.
Yeah, you need some conviction on those individual names. It just requires a lot of research for earnings, and you could be wrong. That's the tough part.
Yeah, and the options market will tell you, right, pretty early what you could expect from those things.
And you get the volatility crush with these individual components. So if you're selling these individual components, like it could be a good way to make a buck because you see IVs just plummet the day after earnings. So
I'm playing this into
anyways,
earnings, by the way.
please carry on. I just thought it was
I'm risking it for the biscuit. We have this fair value gap that we have to
if you have any other
fill
questions,
right here.
you got the stage up here, so feel free to jump in with them.
Look at these buyers sitting right here.
All right,
My EMAs
real quick though, Shy, I want to double back to you. You gave some thoughts on how to use volatility, but I was curious if you had any questions for Jay around the strategy.
Yeah. So when do you think? I want to ask Jay about 10,000 foot view and his opinion or gut feeling of when do you start thinking the election rattle start hitting the market of the
Lucid
uncertainty and a lot of where the market starts tracking which candidates are actually leading the polls and gaining momentum, and you see some reflection in the market of which industries might get hit, which industries might show some strength due to Democrat or Republican winning. When do you start seeing the election trickle into the headlines for the markets? Because I think it's going to happen in the end of summer.
Yeah, I think it's September, right? You'll see it begin in September. September is usually a pretty choppy month to begin with. I think it's the only month when you look, go back 100 years where the market actually averages negative returns, right? So I would expect September to be pretty choppy, and you start to see things play out. I think, it's weird. Like this time around, I think people are remembering when Trump won. He was pretty heavy on the the tariffs, right? And that caused quite a bit of volatility. So, I think he's already started saying he's going to go back to that. Hopefully, if the market seems to liked his tax perspective, and we'll see if he can get his tax cuts that are expiring, I think, in 2025 to continue. I think those are the big factors that you should watch for there on the Republican side, right? Is it going to be another kind of a bad China trade, or is it going to be, something where people feel like, hey, just there's going to be more cash in people's pockets because of the tax policy? And then the flip side of it, with Biden, it's more of the international risk. I think that the market is portraying, and I think more inflation, right? As much as, I think the general opinion is a lot of the inflation came from policies from the Biden administration, and so it would mean rates higher for longer with a Biden election. So I think there's a lot of folks that would kind of move out the whole interest rate boost that you'll get from cutting rates. So I don't know. I almost feel like it's bad news on both sides with both of them. It just depends which one of those opinions is going to make its way into the market more. But I think September is when you're going to see it. If there's any industries that they both seem to go after, they'll tell you about it in the debates, right? And that's what you watch for. And I think you'll see that occur pretty darn quickly. You saw it, last time when Trump was against Hillary. It was, you got to see the pharmaceutical business get hurt, but you also got to see infrastructure grow based on what they were both saying. I think you got to pay, believe it or not, you got to watch the debates to see what they're talking about to decide which industries are going to be hit.
Estimates from last year. So
just really quick, I think you just keep an eye on December and November implied volatilities. There is a bit of an election premium right now. But
absolutely,
yeah, but you will. I agree with you that September is when that election premium is really going to get priced in even more. You see it priced in a little bit right now, but I think debates when those start kicking off. I think companies are gonna catch a bid here. What does catching a bid mean? I think you're gonna see IVs, implied volatilities pop up in a lot of these single component names that may have exposure one way or another. And then oddly enough, I feel like we're talking about Raytheon and some of these aero defense names. I think you may see IVs get sucked out of those even a little bit more if there's some dovish conversation from Trump in the debates. But it all depends on the debates where you're really going to see IVs go. So that's just
I think you're right about the defense sector, right? I think that'll probably have a little bit of an upward bias if if
Get
Trump
filled right here.
looks like he's winning.
Half of this fair value gap on the 1 hour get filled.
Yep. Which would be a volatility suck, right?
We did get a
Volatility
candle
would come
close
out of those
above
names if you
previous
saw that
high.
happen.
So it's telling
Yeah,
me
I
it's gonna
think
went
it's
next
odd.
high.
It's odd
And
because in
next high
previous
is
elections,
up
you
here
usually
at
take the
118.
Republican as the hawk,
Just find your
more
breakers,
willing
control,
to
let these
engage in
lows
like a
get broken
neoconservative
into,
sense.
and let this
But
point of
now
control
it
get
seems
taken
like
over,
almost a
and
flip
let these lows get
switch,
taken over,
where like
and find your breaker structure
the
right here.
left-leaning
Your
party
double
is
bottom.
now like the more inclined
Liquidity
to engage
sweep,
with the military
enter,
contractors and
etc.
get involved in these global standoffs. But it's
Let's get a
hard
bounce right
because
here,
we're
though.
talking about derivatives
Let's get a
here,
bounce.
and
Let's get a
like
bounce
there's
right here.
so
I'm low-key
much
not winning.
ambiguity about macro news and
Get a
how
bounce
that
up
may
here.
translate into pricing, that you just
What's
need
SPY
to kind
doing?
of
SPY just
grasp onto
consolidating.
true news stories and like see if there is implications. Because when you saw when Russia invaded Ukraine, for a while, I would say there was like a 2-month time span where like that news actually mattered, and then when the news headlines stopped mattering, and you saw oil and you saw these aero defense names catch a bid briefly in the Israel-Iran conflict like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and then the market, those were extremely hard
Look at
to
this.
carry.
That's
Say
crazy.
you buy your long Gamma, your long Vega, and a lot of these names, it became a bad bet when the market stopped caring. So I mean, that's just to underline the difficulty that even professional options traders do not have
scoop me some calls
the
here,
correct
chat.
answers. You need to stay extremely humble because narratives can shift very quickly, and you probably are going to get burnt on it if you are buying too much Gamma.
Yeah, it's why I use spreads to at least limit your risk,
Tesla
right?
pushing
Naked
back
gets
up
tough
from this
in a hurry.
previous days.
Yes. You use the spread so you
pre-market
can
I
kind
like
of
this for
ease
calls
on the
back to the
capital that
upside
you outlay.
to the end of the
I
day.
like the condor strategies. I know you said that you're short some condors or maybe long condors if you're short Gamma. Anyways,
we're winning that 190 for sure. You can probably see Teslas.
It's pretty interesting stuff across the board here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've covered this pretty well. I'm curious if there's more questions from the crowd. We're happy to take them. I appreciate those that do request up on stage, or you can just comment them below as well. You can feel free to DM me. I think there's a lot of ways you can go about this. Right now, funds continue to chug along. It's at 17 million
my heart's
AUM.
getting shattered.
Can you talk to me, outside of the managing of the actual what's going on in the fund, what else goes into this from your end? Jay, as you're trying to get people aware of this, have you guys been working on other campaigns? This is obviously a SoFi product. Is this something that they're kind of actively pushing through their side?
Yeah, that ball really does fall to SoFi, right? We're the sub-advisor on the fund, and while we certainly benefit from the growth and the size of the fund, it is more of a SoFi creating the awareness for the fund, right? Their role is to make it available to their clients. I think they're the fact that they're starting to dip their toe into the options world is great. Hopefully we get to do more with them. Obviously they're a strong brand. They're trying to change the way, investors are the tools that they're able to use. And so it's up to them really. I think that they've done a lot of digital marketing when it comes to this, digital campaigns, email campaigns, that kind of stuff. I think they're probably waiting, to get a little more time under their belt. Like all things, when you have a fund, people like to, A, look at the chart, B, look at, a 1-year performance. And so I think it's probably a little slow play out of the gate here. But to me, it's one of those strategies that because we trade it so often, right? It's a monthly trade or a 3-week trade that we put on. It's not one of those things that you have to wait to watch the general portfolio theory play out. It's, hey, how good are we at generating premium by selling deep out of the money option spreads, right? And that's the thing that'll start to show itself. So I think it's probably a factor of time for these guys. I'm meeting with them later in the month to kind of talk about next steps. And we do give them plenty of marketing material. We do give them plenty of information because it's not an easy concept to grasp, right? Like we're all taught the way you make money in the market is you buy low, sell high. Well, with this strategy, it's, sell an option and wait, right? And it's just a little different approach because the market can go up, down, or sideways, and this still produces the target return. And so I think it just takes a little investor education, and I think they're doing that today. But my expectation is for us to continue to give them the information, give them good talking points around options, around how they could fit into someone's portfolio. This audience is a little more sophisticated than the average investor. And so we could talk about things like volatility and gamma, but generally that is not something that someone's looking to understand before they're making an investment decision, right? So they want to see things like performance. They want to see general talking points. And like you asked earlier, where does it fit in the portfolio? And so if we give all that to SoFi, they're gonna, they're the ones that'll make the, make the talking points available to their community.
And where do you recommend people that want to go do some due diligence on this? How do you recommend them actually going about and researching a product like this?
Well, I mean, of course, go to SoFi, right? And go to the pages that are there. We provide a lot of the information that's listed on those pages. But if you really wanted to dig deep, like real deep, going to the Zega site and taking a look at our high probability option strategy, which this is based off of, that's the strategy that we're running in this fund. You could get a 13-year history on what it does month by month, get a lot of additional information. So our site is zegafinancial.com, but of course you can just go to SoFi or even search for the ticker THTA to get more information about it. I think that's a good first start. And, listening to, the live streams like this also helps obviously quite a bit. You get a little more information, you get a chance to ask questions. So which is why we do this, right? So that people that have questions about it can get access to the fund manager.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun to be able to do stuff like this directly with you. People coming up from the crowd, as you saw in this one itself, being able to ask theirs and get some clarity, because I think that with products like this, well, actually, that's a good question. What do you think are the biggest misunderstandings around a product like this?
Yeah, it's you're right. It's, hey, when's the right time to buy this is a question we get all the time. And I think I answered that earlier. It's not, a right time to buy it or not. We just think it's something that should be in the portfolio. Buy it as your allocation dictates, right? There's no good time, no different market cycle that it makes more sense. The other question is, how come the market's going up and I'm not making any money in my fund, or I only made 1%? And the answer is these are kind of defined trades, right? We put a trade on to make 1.5% in a month. If the market goes up 7 or 8%, the fund isn't going to make any more, right? It'll hopefully make that 1 to 1.5% it's targeted. So, kind of the upside participation is one of the things that people always ask questions about. Sometimes, by the way, when there's no trade, meaning our rules aren't met, we'll sit in cash, right? There are times that we actually don't have an option trade on, or we have a very small option trade on. That's another thing that sometimes folks don't understand. Like, hey, how come my position isn't appreciating or moving at all? The market's moving. And the answer is our rules haven't been met. Our rules have been, honed over the years. We've got a pretty good success rate as far as, putting positions on and having them pay off. And so we stick to those. We don't like to violate those just because somebody is impatient. So I think those are the biggest misconceptions. Of course, when people are happiest are like a month like April, right? When the market's down and yet their fund is still up despite all of that, right? Or when you don't feel the volatility of what's going on in the rest of the market, the big swings, ups and downs. This is pretty consistent. So, there's all those, people don't understand that either. That's a good thing that happened. And sometimes they still don't get that. So I think it's just the dynamics of a fund and strategy that are designed to kind of harvest deep out of the money premium is just a little different than what most people are used to.
Well put. All right, gonna see if we have any last questions from the panel up here. And we can wrap this one up. Let's go over it. Frank, I saw you jump back on stage. Not sure how much you were able to catch of this space talking about THTA product looking to enhance yield and benefit off volatility from SoFi. Have you seen this at all before? Did you have any thoughts or questions?
It's interesting. I'm gonna look and I'm gonna read more about it. But to be honest, this is my first attempt, but I'll check it out for sure.
Perfect. Emp, anything else for you?
I'm thinking I'm buying a.
No, I'm not. I'm over here reading about it, just like Frank was saying. We're in this choppy price action right now, so it's a good opportunity. So I'm just doing my research, like we should do on everything. But I'm so glad that this was brought to my attention. It's actually a very interesting product.
Very, 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 very interesting.
Absolutely. Shy, anything else on your mind?
See how the VIX is doing, chat.
Nothing else on my
The
mind
VIX just
except
got
for
reached.
we have pretty wild week, so looking forward to
the
seeing what kind of
VWAP now.
action and volatility we get.
Whoa, EMAs have not crossed yet.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then Evan.
We're having a little.
Okay, there we are.
Like the VIX
took
wanted
a,
to
took a
turn
minute to unmute
bullish.
there. No, I
It's
definitely
not.
just
It got
appreciate the
rejected.
conversation. Order filled.
VIX getting
I
rejected
cannot
off
say
3
that.
minutes.
But
That's
you know,
showing
I
bullish
find it pretty
confirmation to new
interesting.
highs.
Data's been a good watch. I actually did buy some myself. I enjoy, like, when I add something to my watch list, I like to buy a share or two, and then just see how it moves, see how it acts in my portfolio. As you said, we get a lot of really good questions on here, but sometimes I just like to see how it moves and see that type of kind of what it looks like in the portfolio and the actual gains I get. I mean, maybe we could talk a little bit more about, like, what when you are talking to just a regular retail person, not in these type of spaces, someone who's maybe not trading the market every single day. What's the type of language that they
Damn, Microsoft
resonate with, and what's
showing
kind
the
of your
dibber
thought process, and what's
dabbers.
the questions you get more in that direction? I know you touched on it a little bit, but was there anything else
Showing
in
the
that area?
moves.
Yeah, you know, it's hard, right? Sometimes to talk about a
wanting
fully,
to get into
completely options-based
Apple.
strategy without causing confusion to the to the average investor. But over the years, we found a couple talking points really kind of hit home. The first point is we like to say that the
Spy pushing up.
strategy benefits from
Let's
the
get it, let's go, boys.
improbable not
VIX
occurring.
pushing
In other
down
words,
hard.
as long as the market does
It's
what the
almost out of
market
the
is priced
EMAs.
in,
Pushing down
then
to
things are going to go well, and we'll
lows,
hit our
open lows.
1% target, right? We also like to tell people that it takes advantage of the natural time decay of options, right? All options have time decay in them. This takes advantage of that. And so, those 2 points seem to hit home with folks that, most folks at least know, like, oh, these things called options exist. And there's this tricky component called extrinsic value that I don't know anything about, or time value that I don't know anything about. We hear about people getting burned all the time by it. Well, to say that we're on the positive side of time decay seems to resonate with people pretty well. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, we actually, show them a probability chart and we say, look, here's the range that the market, there's a 99% chance the market's going to trade within this cone, right? It's going to happen somewhere in this kind of, the outcome is going to be somewhere in this cone of probability. And then you say, look, we benefit when the market stays within that cone, right? It can go up, it can go down, it can go sideways, but the option positions profit as long as it doesn't go outside of that cone. And you look at some of the numbers, when you show somebody that, hey, it's pretty rare for the market to drop, 10 to 12% in a single month. And, this is where we put our positions on. It does happen. And so we're defensive if it starts to look like it's going to get there. But generally, as long as the market stays in this range of what it almost always does, the strategy is going to be profitable.
Yeah.
So that's the way we usually position it to investors, because to tell them about, we're looking at selling, 5 delta options and buying a 4 delta, and we get a net delta 1, and that kind of stuff goes over most people's heads. So as long as you can, explain to them kind of the general dynamics of, we take advantage of the market, the natural time decay of options, and as long as the market does what it's supposed to do, or doesn't, do something improbable, the strategy will be profitable. Those are the kind of main 2 talking points we bring up. And typically what happens is after a few months of being in the position, like you'll see it when you're owning the ETF, you'll start to go, oh, let me add some more to this thing because I get how it's working. We actually usually have to talk people out of adding too much to it, because the one thing we can't control is when you get that black swan event. And so, we're all about being a risk manager first. And so we like to make sure we manage the amount of risk we put up in this kind of a position. I think I said earlier, we don't like to exceed 15 to 20% of anybody's portfolio. I can't tell you how often I'm talking people out of adding more to this strategy, but it takes time. It definitely takes time to understand what's happening, because it's a nice, slow, steady mover. There's not a lot of volatility in the portfolio. And so it takes a little while to digest what it's really going to do.
EFTs, bro. I don't want no EFTs. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
I want UFT, nigga.
Unless there's any other questions or thoughts.
All right, chill. I'm gonna get banned.
It's been a pleasure having you on. Any final thoughts for yourself?
No, just always glad to be here. Appreciate this audience. You guys are great. And, I love the chance to talk about these things. So maybe we'll get to do it again, maybe another month or so.
10 cents, bro. We're like 10 cents from $3.
See how we do.
Sounds good. I think we are going to be doing some more of these together.
Head and shoulders, looking like
All right, Evan, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, Definitely did enjoy this conversation. We
Look
had
how
a
great.
good
Just gonna
morning of spaces and lives and
1
everything like
hour
that.
just
We've
chilling
been
under these lows.
live since what, 8:45, 8:40 a.m. Eastern. Did some pre-market talk, then did some live trading through the morning. Had this great conversation with Jay from Zega Financial talking about the SoFi's THTA, the Theta ETF, which I'm a big fan of. We talked about and hope we have a good conversation there again. So love that. We're
So
gonna
now
stay
they
live.
have
We have the Palantir earnings after the close, so we'll be live at 3 p.m. Eastern today for that. I'm gonna go and hang out on Jordan Spaces for a
wait.
couple hours,
PLTR has
get some
earnings
stuff going over
today.
there. Fuck it, Wolf. Let's just shout it out one more time. Up in the nest above, I am. Well, let's see how
It
some
does.
live streaming goes
Hey, we should
on
take a little
YouTube. Watch my screen.
position
If you want to
just to
see the
gamble
numbers and
it.
hear the numbers the second they're out, if you want to stick with me for some live trading, go up in the nest above.
1
Click
hour
that
is
link and you
looking
can keep
devious.
getting some more good spaces, good
3
stock market
hours. Look at
content.
this
Should at least
fucking
subscribe to
devious
my page while
volley
you're
right
there. That's all
here.
I'll say. And
Look at this
check
red
out
volley right
the
here.
THTA ETF. Do some research
Oh,
into it.
this
See
is
if it's right
going
for
to
you.
dub.
And
Everybody's
yeah,
gonna
that'll
get
be all for me.
fucked. Should I
Well,
take?
we've been live for a
Hold up,
good little bit of
because
time. You got
everybody
anything
is
you want to shout out at the
so
end?
bullish that it might turn bearish.
I believe you covered
You see what I'm
most of
saying here?
it. The next space is going to be Palantir
510.
earnings at 3 p.m.
4-day
Eastern, so that'll
DTD.
be what I'll be on at.
4 days
I
to
do have a few
expire.
calls in the meantime. I'll be hopping in for the next few hours, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. So I think you covered most of it. Definitely check out as well our predictions. And last thing I guess I'll call
Look,
out, because there
calls
are earnings this week,
5,000.
and there
I mean
is Palantir
5,000.
earnings. If you want to see all the
156,000 against
numbers,
puts
the expectations
72,000.
once they've already come out, or if you
Put
want to see all the
to call
recaps of last
volume
week's earnings,
ratio.
I
It
personally am using
is
earningshub.com
$50
for
per
that. So that's
contract.
my recommendation to y'all.
So
I
if you
think
go
it's the
to
best place to go find it.
Very
PLTR
nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. One
and
more
you go
time.
to May
If you're still
10th
in here, go up in the nest
and go
above.
to the
Click the
contracts
tweet.
that are
Click the link.
worth
Hit subscribe. Turn notifications on.
$50
And
around
I'll love
there.
you forever.
Those are the
All right.
29th.
I'll catch you guys all
29.
later. We're going to go and hang out on Jordan's stream and
29
then
caller.
join us back at 3 p.m. for our Power Hour spaces, which we do every single day.
So it's
Have a good one, everybody. See you soon.
It's 11K, a 6K put opening out.
Wolf, if when I see you in person, you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's going to go down.
So you're telling me I should unsubscribe here?
We'll see. If you want to get beat up.
Implied
Oh, yeah.
volatility.
Peace.
Damn. I don't want to risk it for the biscuit either. I might just stay out of it for the ratio of the beta. We could have just have lows. Oh, what the? New all-time highs on PLTR. What y'all thinking, chat? On earnings? Y'all like trading PLTR? I know one of my Discord members does trade PLTR and does like trading PLTR. I really want to get a bounce off right here. I don't know if it will. Ow.
I speak American. I don't know what you said.
I speak American.
Alright, this what people is now.
It's such an American thing to say.
That was such an American. He's like those guys in this.
I dig dirt for a living. I dig holes. I dig big holes in the dirt.
Bipolar. Well, ain't no bi around here. I ain't bipolar.
Dude, honestly, my brother sent me a video. He's a union operator. He sent me a video of him like fucking his machine that he's in. Dude, that shit's gnarly, bro. Like one wrong move, he's fucked. Like mad respect for those people. Oh my gosh. It's not no easy, simple job.
2-minute EMA is trying to maintain here on NQ. This could be what we need to break over this higher high and push up to 150 on NQ.
Get it, baby.
Anybody else green on their AMC $10 calls for June 21st and the $20 calls for June 21st and the $15 calls for January 17th?
Let's go.
Me!
I heard GME was ripping this morning too a little bit.
Oh yes, she was.
AMC,
Yeah. Come on, M-Phase, break
he
this
cannot
high.
be talking about
Let's go.
AMC. AMC is not even
Jordy,
up.
you pumped up about Celsius tomorrow morning?
Dude, I'm pumped.
ELH?
I got
This and
$80
push back
calls right
up.
now. I'm
Just get
probably
it,
gonna
baby.
hold like 1 or 2 into tomorrow. Say fuck it. Risk like $400 to $800 and
I like the
see what
VIX
we can do.
pushing down lower. I like it.
I'm
It
willing to
is
risk that
pushing.
overnight, especially
It's
since
holding
like
the
the past
lower
few weeks have been
EMAs
great.
though.
I'm willing to take a little risk like that. So we'll see. We're getting a little pre-earnings run up this morning. Not the run up I was hoping though. I thought we'd get a little stronger of a rally up, but
Oh, we're up almost one
funds are just
1%
moving
on
slow, which
the
makes sense though.
portfolio today,
How's the
boys.
day been for
God
you today,
did.
Jordan?
Remember who
Good
did?
It's
God
been
did.
good.
good morning. It's still morning for me
Yeah,
too.
it's morning. It's like 9 o'clock here.
Oh, Evanito.
What's up?
But yeah,
What's
we're
up?
green. We're long. Celsius M phase. We're doing good on predictions. It's a good day so far. I'm gonna be wrapping up spaces pretty fucking early though.
Not
What
buying.
Go
time?
get some other stuff done. Probably like 10ish, maybe 10:30.
Let's push above that orb. Nice.
Decently
Your
early.
time.
Yeah, my time. Yes.
Damn.
I don't
So I
really
was
got
gonna have a fun day.
spaces. Yeah, I might go play. I played 29 holes yesterday golfing. I might go play another 9 today. I'm
Man,
fucking. Dude, got my
Damn,
first
bro.
par yesterday. I'm very happy. It's not impressive,
Nice.
but I'm making
Bubbles,
progress. So
baby.
That's a good feeling though to get that first par.
Ah, my
yeah, we
balls.
play scramble, but like
Hey, y'all
it was
chat. Y'all
all
don't see
my
nothing,
shots,
right?
which was nice.
Fuck
I
up.
I'll
played
count it.
Fuck up. Fuck
I'll
up.
count that.
Fuck up
par
out of
three.
here.
It was a nice little par three, like 185 yards. I took my 6-iron to the behind the pin in the rough, and then I chip and putt in all my ball, which was nice. So my own little par ski.
I'll just message it to you.
Nice.
Oh man,
VIX
I'll
push
fuck up
down
some people in
now.
some mini golf now.
VIX
Oh
push
shit!
down
Now I need my own
under
birdie.
the.
That's my
Ooh,
next. I need my own
let's
birdie under
go,
my belt.
boys. We're looking pretty good on the
My boy
stocks.
got his own birdie yesterday.
Spy
I've
should be
Dude,
played
there.
pushing
I've
up
played
here.
golf one time in my life.
Dude, we
Bro,
185.
got.
Jordan, you're in Florida, bro. Rounds on me. Let's hit it up.
Oh, bro, I can't wait to play in Florida. I know you got some nice courses out there, bro.
Yeah, just don't go after
185.
your ball in the
That's
water.
IWM.
like an easy like 8-iron. Come on now, Jordy.
Bro,
Ooh,
I'm teeing up
CCJ, new high
hybrids
a
here, bro.
day.
I know about. It was windy
What
yesterday, and
percentage
I
are
was
we up?
sitting into the wind.
IWM going to
I was like, I'm gonna go 6.
207.
I could have gone 7. If I went 7, I would have
No
been
way.
on the pin, which would have been better.
207 today?
I should have done a 7-iron.
5, 6.
But it's
Oh?
funny. I'm more consistent with my 6, but I hit the 7 better when I do get it. It's so interesting,
Jordy, you got to get those golf balls I sent you.
dude. Oh, so
That shit is so funny.
I've got them before. I just didn't
Have you?
film it, but yeah, dude,
Oh
that
my
shit's
god, I
so
want to get.
loud. It's honestly like when you do it on the greens, bro. Everybody just
Bro,
fucking looks at you.
the reactions are hilarious, like a
Dude,
gunshot going off.
everybody trips out. It's gnarly. It's so like it's loud on the phone. It's so much louder in person, bro.
Oh, what is it?
They're called shock golf balls, and basically when you hit it, bro, it's like a fucking gunshot went off.
Nuts, I
It's
sent it
so
in the group
loud.
chat yesterday.
Yeah,
Here,
it's
I'll send
so
it.
loud.
Maple, I'm gonna send it to you because it's hilarious.
Yeah, please, bro.
Come on, Lucid. Start catching
Yeah,
volume, brother.
I gotta film me hitting that one time. They're so
See
loud. I gotta like
IWM,
not tell my buddies
IWM
too,
here.
and just like have them film it.
This shit's pushing up. It just broke on top of this orb
Yo,
to
boys,
push
watch
to
your shot.
207.
Yo, boys, you ready for this drive?
So I'm thinking on swing.
What, when you hit it or when it lands?
When you hit it, bro. When you hit it, it's a gunshot. As soon as you connect with it.
Is it like really loud or is it just like?
Dude, it blows my eardrums out.
Oh, damn.
Like
Yeah,
my ears rung when I hit it.
It's literally like a gunshot.
Yeah, it's loud.
I mean, I'm assuming they put some kind of like little like tannerite
I think it's
or
like a
something
little
on it.
blank in there, right? Like a small little
Something.
blank.
Especially if you're in like anywhere that any like
Or
course
we gotta
that
watch
kind of
out for a
echoes
higher,
the sound.
higher
Oh my
low.
gosh. It's rough.
That's rough.
It's like not enjoyable, but it's funny. It's definitely funny.
It's a one-time thing.
It's kind of like a one-time thing, honestly.
Yeah, but just
I might have to
imagine.
do it again and film it though. Honestly.
Just imagine you're like, hole 6. Your people are kind of getting into the groove of everything, and then you just pull out one.
Okay, looking for a bounce here on
smack that
Carvana.
thing, man.
Hey, nuts! I got these new golf balls, man. That try it out on this drive. This is par 5. Just lay into it here.
The VIX broke back into
Boom!
the EMA.
He just shits his pants.
For real. I've been playing like the same balls every time. I really like the what are they?
Alright, why do I care about
They're tailor-made,
Carvana?
but
I don't even trade Carvana.
I'll be honest, I've been using Cirxon balls lately.
Yo, Jack, go to
Yeah,
the
I use
restroom
those.
so bad.
Bro, I'm cheap. I
I'm
order
cheeked
like
up
the
right now.
Nitro whiteouts on Amazon.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
They're like 70 cents a ball.
I run the.
Y'all pay for balls? I just go grab
If we
them.
break
out of
over
the-
this high, I'm taking
I
calls
try to
on
grab
Oh, I
any
go
Island
find
for
them. I
30
go find them
days.
for sure.
I guess you
But,
can't do that in Florida.
No.
I run
your
the
armpit
blue
off.
and pink, tailor-made tour response stripe ones. So it's like a blue stripe with pink around it. I love the color when you hit it in the air, the way it spins, it looks so fucking cool. I just love it, and the ball, I just like the balls. I don't know.
balls.
I've always hit best with those, so I'm gonna run the blue and pinks. I do love the TP5Xs though as well. Those are really good, and they're high vis if you get the bright green ones.
I'm gonna go to the restroom.
Well, that's how I like to get that. Yeah, I like to get those like neon colored.
I gotta go to the
Yeah,
restroom.
Yeah,
the
you gotta
Strixon,
get.
look up the Strixon like divides. Those are sick. I like the blue and yellow ones.
Yeah, Strixon are solid. Yeah, the blue and yellow ones. Yeah.
Alright, chat. I'm gonna go to the restroom.
Just high vis is nice, especially when you're starting out, because it's pretty easy to find them if you're on fairway or green or like rough, but once you get into the bushes and shit, it's so hard to find your ball if it's not bright like red or bright green. That's how I know I'm getting better though. Every time I go, I don't lose as many balls. I'm like, all right, we're doing better. We're keeping shit on the fairway.
All right, I'm not that shit anymore.
Yeah, we're getting better. Just takes so much time. It's like trading in that way, bro. You gotta be really disciplined and just focus on 1% better every time you go out.
Yeah, for as much as I actually get to play, especially now, I'll just go to the pro shop and buy whatever balls they have there on special. The little bucket next to the checkout. Yeah. No point in me buying the expensive balls because I don't play enough for it to make a difference.
Yeah.
I think that's one mistake a lot of people make. Like if you don't play consistently, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to play golf. Just go enjoy it.
I could definitely go spend like $4,000 on a whole new set of clubs, but am I going to at this point? No. I don't fucking.
I drink too much beer to need nice clubs.
I don't even know exactly what I want. I did go to the PGA Superstore the other day with my boy though. And I got to hit the new TaylorMade QI10 Max driver. Oh my gosh, so forgiving. Has the carbon face. Such a forgiving driver. It's like a $1,200 driver. Fucking A, bro. So
the world's loudest golf ball. Hold on, I might be disconnected here. Let me see this.
You're good. Yeah, you got to watch that video. It's loud as fuck.
I sent him the whole Instagram page so you can just go through and see the different reactions. They're fucking so funny.
No, it's not that loud.
Oh, he just called you a little bitch.
Dude, that shit in person rung my ears.
Watch some of the reactions. You see the people actually grab their ears, but you have to think about it's a quick loud sound. It's not. It's to scare you. It's not trying to blow your eardrums.
Yeah.
Definitely scares. I'm the one that hit it and it scared me. I jumped. I was like, "Oh, that's a little loud."
Oh, it's been a slow morning on the trades. You really need to hold above the orb here on NQ and QQQ. SPY made a lower high. That 514.50 obviously being a little stubborn up there if you're looking for higher. But But if you're looking for shorts, you really need some kind of break of structure or SR flip. I think I wouldn't sit here and just try it over and over.
Yo, guess what, Jordan? You're inspiring me a little bit. I'm continuing with the streaming.
Dude, let's go. I
Let's
like your
go.
streams, bro. They look good too. Like
It's actually
looks great.
surprisingly easy. It's surprisingly easy to just get this
Dude,
started. I need to learn some other stuff, but
it's not that difficult. Just like learning all like the bit rate and all that bullshit can be a little difficult at first, but like once you know what to do, it's pretty easy. And then you just keep like working on it to make the stream higher and higher quality as you go.
yeah, I'm still in that bad quality part of the start for sure. But my bad quality isn't so bad. I'm happy with the bad quality that it is. If that makes sense.
It's good enough to like for someone to sit and watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's fine as long as it's like bearable to sit there and like enjoy and watch. Like I was on your stream the other day during the earnings, and bro, like looks totally fine. So
I'm doing it for Palantir
I'm in
earnings
the
today.
bad quality.
Trying it again.
Bet.
I'm in the bad quality.
Yo, that's it for me today, guys. Pleasure making money with you.
Good morning,
Maple. You're the
Enjoy the rest
man.
of your day. See you tomorrow.
Talk to you later, brother.
Love ya.
Enjoy.
See you, Maple.
All right, guys.
Later,
yeah, that's
Maple.
it for me
See you
too.
tomorrow,
It's
man.
for me too. I'll be live streaming.
Yeah, I'm not seeing shit on my charts, and there's no way in hell I would ever put any money into this market right now. So I'm actually gonna go have some lunch.
Boom, do
it. If we get a move in the afternoon session, maybe after 1:30, 2 o'clock, we'll see. I don't foresee SPY breaking below 513, and obviously we got 515 right above us. Two big key psychological levels here on SPY, and we're stuck in the 50-cent range between the two, so it's not interesting for me right now. So not going to get chopped up, not going to bore myself to death looking at these candlesticks going back and forth. So
yeah,
I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm still going to hang out and here on Spaces until
that's why we're talking about golf balls.
Yeah,
to all the listeners out there, when you hear us going off on random ass topics, like I mean, they're interesting to us at least. I mean, they may not be to you guys, but they're interesting to us. But that's because it's slow, and that's and if for me, anyways, that's a way to stay out of bad trades. Like, don't sit here and try to overthink a trade. Wait for a setup, and just talking with the boys.
And talk some shit in the meantime. Have some fun.
Yeah.
Speaking
and
of
I was
talking
just
shit.
I was just saying, like in Discord, whenever SPY's like in this range right here, and you want it to break out, whether your bias is bullish or you want it to break down because your bias is bearish, whatever it is, at this point in time, you're just going to force the trade and you're just going to hold this position. SPY has not left this range in over 2 hours. I don't care if you took zeros or like me 7 DTEs. You're going to get burned by theta for these contracts. So by taking the step back away from the charts right now during this price action, it's going to separate people that are forcing trades and then the disciplined traders that know not to be involved in this price action. So, and that's a really key thing, is being able to identify the price action and being disciplined to know when to get involved in the market and when not to get involved in the market. In my opinion, right now, it's not to get involved right now. So I'm trying to stay disciplined and look away from the charts until I see something that makes me more confident to trade the market. So I'll wait for that to happen.
Oh, fuck.
I agree 100%. What I was telling our group a while ago, I was like, I'm not sitting here trying to play for the breakout. I will wait for it to tell me where it's going to go and then react accordingly.
100%.
Nice, Disney.
Nice
hold on, Disney.
Which means no sushi for lunch today because I can't make any
I
money right
know.
now.
Like, what the fuck am I supposed to? What am I supposed to go eat now? A freaking peanut butter and jelly? Like.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go toss the ball with my doggy.
I wanted some good food. Now I don't get sushi. I don't deserve it.
Is this the bounce here?
Actually, I think I might.
I am watching Mikey's 113 right here on both NQ and DS holding.
I like this hammer right here.
NQ right at point of control as well. It just bounced from.
Does that EMA work good on futures as well, Imp?
Yes.
I use it on the 1 minute. I have the 113, and then I use a 233.
I like it.
So 113,
But it looks
2,
like
3,
it's just gonna be
3.
sliding.
That's the
Not
two
sliding,
EMAs I
but
have. Just and I don't like.
cutting
I use
up
it for
back and
targets
forth,
a lot,
cutting
or
up and back and
for
forth, cutting up
like
back and forth.
continuation type of stuff.
So for now, I think we're just chilling. So if you played 15 calls, 515 calls
2,
at
3,
open
3.
and sold at 514.60, you should be pretty good in the day right now. Apple pushing down now lower. I like this consolidation that we're hitting on my stocks that I'm in.
The funny thing is, Knots, I don't really have like a great story on the 233, other than I like watched it for 7, 8 months and it kept reacting there, almost 10 points every time.
You stumbled upon it.
So I just stumbled upon it, which 233 is a fib number.